Good morning, artists. Good afternoon, or whatever part of the day you are in. Today, I'm going to do an expressive beach scene because I'm yearning for the beach. Don't know if I'll get there this year. So this is what I'm going for. This people are teeny tiny, but it gives you that feeling of an expansive beach right after a storm with the sun shining through. You've got blues and ochre, well, oranges. For me, it's going to be QBO, ultramarine, and those are probably the only two colors. I might throw in a little bit of cerulean just to give the blue a little bounce. We're going to try to keep some white space here and here. So I'm going to start with the sky. That's the most important part of this scene. And I'm going to make a nice flat horizon with one of my super duper very expensive watercolor tips, tape. We're going to start here with a horizon made out of nice straight tape. Just put it where we want it. That'll be about a third of the way up, roughly, maybe a little less than that. And it may not be level, but that's the beauty of paper. You know, you can fudge it a little bit when it gets into the when you're working with the framing and the matting and all that stuff. So I don't measure. You might have gathered that. I am not a measurer. So I've got my paints all juiced up. I've got my water ready. And I'm going to start by wetting the sky and dropping in colors. Now I'm going to try to leave that white space where we want the sun to be. I may make it even a little more dramatic and have it come at an angle. So, whoops, a little bit of green color there. So I'm going to want to make sure that stays waterless. All right, now I'm going to start with a little bit of these blue patches. And remember, they're going to lighten up. They're going to lighten different colors in there. Lots of grays and ultramarines, lots of water. And we're going to have a nice angry cloud that's just going to kind of burst over there. And I'm going to make it burst, hopefully, with some extra water that I'm going to just throw in. I like how that's flowing around and how the colors are all mingling. I think I might want to get a slightly smaller, stiffer brush. This is my master's touch. And see if I can pull out some colors where I want them out. I want to do. We might want to purify this a little bit, get this a little lighter. Let's make this sky speak. I think I might want to blend an edge up here just a little bit. And this rainy. And over here, we're just going to hint at a little bit of activity on the horizon. Is it land? Is it clouds? We don't know. Not really sure we care a whole lot. But we're just going to put a little something there. And I think we're going to add a lemon down. And now I think it's at the point where I can put in some drops and make some on-purpose blooms. maybe one right up here. Let's see what that does. Tilt it a little bit. These look a little too forced, so I'm gonna... Okay, so I like what that's doing up there. I like what this is doing up there. That's very interesting. I love it when the water and the color just do their own thing. So one of the things I want to do is pull out some sun rays, but I can't really do that quite yet. But I can take this off. I think this tape has done its job. Although this isn't, if this were masking fluid, I would not be taking it off until this was totally dry. But what we want now is on our ocean, on our water, we want very, very, we're going to take our brush, we're going to rub it in some paint, but not make it sippy soppy soapy wet. And then we're going to dry brush, but we want to make sure that we don't have a lot of extra water in here. So, and I want to make it bluer. So let me dry off my brush, get a little bit more blue in there. Again, I'm getting all the water out of the bristles, and I just want to pick up some color. And I want to scrape it along dry brushing. And I can go back in, get more water. And all these little pieces of paper that I'm leaving are it's reflections on the sand, on the wet sand, and on the water. Now I'm going to get a little bit of QBO in there, get it a little grayer, a little darker down here. I may cut off a lot of this bottom because I really the sky is the story. And I don't want this to be, I want this to meld a little bit more than this. So now I'm bringing some wet in here to ease some of that sparkliness. And like I said, I very well may cut the bottom inch or so off. And I want this hard edge to go away because this is where water meets sand. So I don't want a lot of hard edges here. I would have preferred doing that in fewer strokes, but hey, sometimes you just get what you get. Now back here again, I want some of these lines fading out without touching the skyline because I don't want that to bleed in. Okay. All right. Now we're going to let it dry. And, oops, sorry about that. And we're going to see, after it dries, we're going to put in our lines, maybe a few more rain lines and some rays of sunlight. I'll be back shortly. Let's look at making some lines here that indicate we have sun's rays coming down. I'm going to do it on a diagonal, so I'm going to take clear water in my brush, make sure I don't have any drippy drops that can come in there. Get that hair out of there. And I'm going to start here. Just try to pull some of this out. And it's going to go behind this cloud. So I'm being very specific about where I'm pulling it out. If we have to get our scrubber brush out, we will, but I'm not sure we'll have to yet. I want to make sure that our lines don't go all, we don't want to get hard lines on the edges of where we wipe out. So we have to watch the edges, in other words. So there you go. It's behind these two clouds, and it's coming down to the ocean beyond the horizon. And we could do a little bit up. I'm not sure that's necessary. Again, you gotta look at those edges because the water will push the pigment out and make a hard edge if you're not careful. People in. Don't be afraid. They're gonna go in our 1/3 spot. They're not gonna go in the middle. They're not gonna go out in the deep water. And I want them to break the horizon line. So, or at least I want the adult to do so. Can you see me? Oh, not very well. So I'm gonna put in a little circle. Little square. And a little couple sticky things, like a Y. I'm going to add a little arm over here, and then an arm holding the child. The child, of course, is smaller. Proportionately, all of it is smaller. Now you've got your people. Now you're going to get a watery, maybe slightly browner mixture, and you're going to put their shadow in. Just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Remember, our sun is coming from up there, so they're going to probably have a pretty good sized shadow. It's going to extend out. And because I don't like any one thing being any one color, I'm going to drop a little bit of some of the darker color in here. But I also don't want it to overpower. And our little painting is done. I hope you enjoyed this. Thinking of the beach. Bye-bye. See you next time.